So in order to introduce us to area, we need to define a few terms. So the first term that we talked about was a quadrilateral. And a quadrilateral is just any four-sided shape. That could be anything that has four sides to it. It doesn't have to be a particular shape. Now, a parallelogram, that one's a little bit more specific. That one is a quadrilateral that has two sets of parallel lines. And how that looks is if I were to draw a line here and a line here, those are both parallel to each other, right? So they're going to get one arrow each. And then this one across and this one across the bottom, those are also parallel to each other, but they are not the same equality as the two on the sides. So they get two arrows each. So that is a parallelogram. Now, in contrast, a rectangle is a parallelogram with four right angles. Okay? And the difference there between a rectangle and a parallelogram is just that you've got a right angle in each of the four corners. If you look back at the parallelogram, okay, it's almost like a rectangle shifted over to either the left or the right, where the top has been kind of shifted over. And you notice, like, we have an angle here that's bigger than 90 degrees in these two corners. And then in these two corners, you have an angle that's smaller than 90 degrees. And that's the biggest difference between that and a rectangle, where you can see they make a good corner there with a right angle. Okay. And finally, area. An area is just the space between the lines of any shape. So basically, any of this area in here, inside that shape, is going to be the area. Okay? Then, finally, we defined what area is. So the area of a rectangle or a parallelogram or a square can be found by taking the base times the height. Okay? It's very similar to length times width. We're just using base times height because base can be used in all three of those shapes, whereas length does not always represent the length of a shape, and width doesn't always represent the width. Sometimes it's the height, like in a parallelogram. So let me show you what I mean. So on our parallelogram, okay, This is the parallelogram we had earlier. My base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Area equals base times height. My base, because it's on the bottom, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Now my height is what makes a right angle from my base. So there's kind of this imaginary line that comes down here from the parallelogram down to the baseline, and this kind of imaginary kind of comes out. So I can look and I've got 1, 2, 3 units for my height. Okay, so if I multiplied the area of 5 times 3, I am going to get 15 square units for my area. Okay, the same can be said for a rectangle. Okay, this along here is my base. It's 5. My height is 3. So my area is equal to 15 square units. Okay? So that is our introduction to area in a nutshell.